Donations pouring in for homeless Hanuabada families. Bougainville Affairs Minister wants people-centered focus. And MP to partner with University for Role Models push.
This is National MTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and welcome. This is Monday's news. It's now been 2 days after the Hanuabada fire, which destroyed 15 houses and partially destroyed others. A committee has been formed to receive and distribute donations to homeless families. Donations from the government, corporate companies, small businesses and citizens have been coming into Larabada and Lahara villages at Hanuabada.
Homeless now for more than 2 days, the Hanuabada family's plight have been felt by many, with donations coming through since the fire began, leaving more than 150 people homeless. Today, the City Hall set up a tent to allow city residents to bring in donations. These donations, along with Governor Powers Pakop's donations, were brought to Hanuabada.
I would like to wholeheartedly thank him for his beautiful deed. I think 150 mattresses, noodles, rice, pillows, bed sheets and the rest of it. There's about 200 people sleeping here every night, so that's very, very timely. And I think he also made a pledge of 75,000 kina towards the rebuilding.
Lohia Samuel is a part of a committee set up to receive donations and distribute them. Lohia says the donations have been flooding in.
So far, we had 2 fast motors, gave us a check for 10,000 kina. That's going straight into the account. In the account, there are 4 signatories from the 4 rows of houses that were burnt down. We try to keep a transparent approach to things, so we got 4 signatories appointed by the victims as signatories of the account.
A trust account has been set up and the public can deposit donations in the Hanuabada Village Fire Relief account at the Bank of South Pacific. The account number is 70111464458. Meanwhile, donations that have come in include clothing, beddings, kitchen utensils, store goods, and by cash donation. So far, Oil Search has pledged 10,000 kina. The NCD Governor Powers Pakop with 75,000 kina, and also the Chinese community have begun pledging donations that have so far totaled up to 79,000 kina, with more expected. The committee's goal is to reach 2 million kina at the end of the week to start rebuilding the houses that were lost in the fire. Adelaide Sirox Kari, National MTV News.
The Joint Supervisory Body meeting will be a priority for the new Bougainville Affairs Minister, Father Simon Dumarino. Father Simon says this important meeting between the national and the autonomous Bougainville governments must reconvene quickly to discuss important matters for Bougainville's referendum quest. The new minister says Bougainville's focus will be people-centered.
With less than 2 years before the 2019 referendum vote, the new Bougainville Affairs Minister says to quickly reconvene this important meeting between both governments, the national government of Papua New Guinea and the autonomous Bougainville government.
The sooner the better. So as soon as we get into the office and start working, rolling, I think this is the intention and issue is in our hands. So we will. Will continue because these are the decision makers to drive us to translate what is need to be translated in their discussion and in their meetings.
The last JSB meeting was held in Kokopo, East New Britain Province in May last year. Another JSB was planned for March this year but was later deferred. The Bougainville Affairs Minister says the JSB meeting is important as agreed for in the Bougainville Peace Agreement to address pressing issues as the deadline looms.
It's on the table. No one has to decide. It's on the table, so that's why both parties decide what's the time frame and with regards to what is going on. What's the important issues for us.
Bougainville Regional MP and former Bougainville Affairs Minister Joe Lera today also handed over his ministerial duties to the newly sworn-in minister. He's set to work in close consultation with the new minister for Bougainville's interest.
To help him for the good of our people, to help him implement these 7 things, which I did in 7 months, to try and improve the ministry.
Meanwhile, the Bougainville Affairs Minister has met with all 3 national MPs and they have vowed to work together in the spirit of the Bougainville Peace Agreement.
It's a team, we work as a team. Bougainville come first. Our popular members, so I think we are working. I think symbolically last time we have a Saturday meeting here. So 4 of us, first time we sat around this table here. So that indicates there's more to come, I think.
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
A review on the Bougainville Affairs Ministry through the National Coordination Office of Bougainville Affairs identified several loopholes of communication and resources and why it failed to respond effectively to the autonomous Bougainville government. And this can be fixed if the Bougainville Affairs Ministry was departmentalized, operating under its own Act of Parliament. This would have allowed the Bougainville Affairs Minister to exercise full powers and not to be sanctioned by the national government.
Joe Lera, in his 7 months as the Bougainville Affairs Minister of the 9th National Parliament, commissioned a review after complaints that the Bougainville Affairs Ministry, through the National Coordination Office of the Bougainville Affairs, was not performing. 5 areas were identified why the ministry was ineffective since its establishment in 2007. One of them was that national parliamentarians lacked the knowledge about Bougainville's situation.
What I did in 7 months, I presented first ministerial report on ENCOBA. Second, I prepared a status report on autonomy. Third, I prepared a response ministerial statement on the report that the Parliamentary Committee on Bipartisan will present in this term of Parliament.
Lera says the Bougainville Affairs Ministry was operating under the National Executive Council's direction. They employed only support staff and not professionals.
The mandate of the ministry is to coordinate issues. That was the mandate. But that mandate was not felt on the island. There was complaints that ministry was not responding effectively to the ABC.
As a way forward, a draft corporate plan is in place to address the findings. The Bougainville Affairs Ministry will put together an act for the ministry to be departmentalized.
It doesn't have an act. As a result of that, the ministry is just an office. It comes under Prime Minister's department. The minister really does not have the powers that other ministers who are in charge of departments enjoy. Through that kind of arrangement, the ministers have authority and power to talk freely without having to be sanctioned. They get special funding, all this sort of thing.
Lera says many issues need to be addressed before the referendum in 2019. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
And to news in the Morbe province, Huang's District Administrator Aaron Ambang says studies for the requested water wall has been made and will be presented to the Morbe Governor's office. This follows a visit by Morbe Governor Ginson Saunu to the flood-stricken Gabensis village yesterday. In a short meeting, villagers aired their grievances over delayed responses from concerned authorities.
Officials from the Morbe Government, Huon District and Disaster Office visited the flood-stricken Gabensis village yesterday. They were led by Governor Ginson Saunu. The villagers were receptive, seizing the opportunity to air their concerns.
Now all but give you service. Behind you brown government but come inside. Backfield, that they're still in the village. Restore the power line.
They presented their petition to the governor and officials.
He can't blow me, I'm along. Come na look him long. I blow me yet, or send governor blow you. Na kissing report blow you, kissing petition blow you. Now. That's now but give me a power long talk now.
After giving their request, the governor was shown the site.
After seeing the site myself, I'll go back and set set up a committee to look into it and call all the responsible authorities.
The petition included the need for rations, temporary shelter and water walling.
And we'll do what we can, definitely, yes.
It's been nearly 1 month since the flooded Goroges River destroyed the village. The district administrator, Aaron Ambang, said a study for the water wall has been conducted.
It's quite big. And for that, this walling thing, it's a cost that by involving. Also, what the community is racing for the relocation, all in on relocate. So we have to go back to the walling thing now. So once we have done the walling now, we will look at how one like a resort level back. It can back in the same the area that now we're set up.
Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Leh.
Meanwhile, Morobe Governor Ginson Saunu has instructed for a working committee to be set up to deal with people displaced by the Gabensis floods. The committee was set up this morning after a news conference with members of the Provincial Disaster Centre, Agriculture and Huon District included. Several other areas have also been supplied with food rations following recent flooding.
With the Morobe province owing 40 million kina to contractors and other service providers, the flooding has added to the financial burdens. Ginson Saunu told a news conference this morning he didn't know where the money would come from, but they've already started work.
When I am in Mosby or elsewhere or in the toilet, you must ring and tell me this is happening in your province or this is happening in your electorate, so that at least we as elected leaders must be informed. Whether you got money or not got money, at least for our information, we must be informed.
A working committee was set up during the news conference, with the governor appointing the district administrator for Huon Gulf, Aaron Ambang, to head the group. Morobe is a disaster-prone province. Every year between the months of July and December, flooding is a regular occurrence. While the impact of the flooding this year is less, it is still expected to consume a large chunk of the disaster relief budget.
Well, it's not only Gabensis also. We got to, there's other places also. We got Munun and Naswapom that's come up. We have Lababia also. Stop to no time bomb.
We'll have to send out the officers to go and check, and then they have to identify which areas is affected the worst, and then we will provide to those ones that are in need of food and shelter.
Some food has already been sent to flood-stricken areas in Morobe. The provincial government has also sent a message to the MPs of Bulolo and Menyamia to assist. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Leh.
The environmental health officers of Huon Gulf District in Morobe are running a test on drinking water following the flooded Gabensis village. The test is carried out to make sure water is safe for the community. District Administrator Aaron Ambang said it was reported people have begun suffering from diarrhea.
That's a normal or diarrhea or something, but we have to run the blood sample hang just to make sure that what the outbreak be healthy come up, and because of a flood thing, displacing more man, and now they're living in the shelters. So we just want to make sure that what the big health and disaster by come up after the flooding now. So.
You're with National EMTV News. When we come back, what to expect when Parliament reconvenes tomorrow, and more of the day's other stories. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Tomorrow, the 10th National Parliament will reconvene for its official opening. A full morning ceremony is expected, which will include Parliament giving approval for the Chief Justice Sir Salamo Injia and members of the judiciary seated on the floor. Governor-General Sir Bob Dadai will also be addressing the 10th National Parliament before he declares it open.
Openings of the National Parliament are always steeped in parliamentary ceremony.
I will read this list.
It is one of the very few times both the Governor-General and the Chief Justice will be present on the floor. Tomorrow's ceremony for the official opening of the 10th National Parliament will be no different. Governor-General Sir Bob Dadai will, for the first time, formally address the whole of the National Parliament from the Speaker's chair. It is his one opportunity to tell members what he will be expecting of them. Chiefly amongst these is the way they conduct themselves on the floor. All members, with the exception of one, have just completed a one-week induction program. They have been told what has not worked and what will. And from tomorrow onwards, the country will be watching and judging by level and standard of debate the type of leaders they have elected to the floor, and how much they say in the name of their people. Neville Choi, National EMTV News.
Madang MP Brian Kramer says he is keen on working closely with Divine Word University in his 5-year term to set role models for the younger generation. This is because PNG has lost role models and there is a vacuum that needs to be filled. Kramer plans to partner with DWU since it still nurtures ethics and good values.
The Madang MP was among the other guests invited to Divine Word University's Cultural Day under the theme Valuing Our Cultural Heritage Through Collaboration. The Cultural Day, held over the weekend, attracted hundreds of showgoers from within Madang, nearby provinces and tourists. Kramer told students that he will be working with DWU in setting up role models for the young people.
Future, I can tell you, from the knowledge that I have, lies in our youth and our young generation.
The Madang MP also hopes to change how ethics and values can play a major role in politics. But his main responsibility will be to empower the role of the people in the rural communities to take ownership of their development and the environment. At the Cultural Day, students showcased their cultural tradition through their attires, dancing and singing.
Expression, one unique, one special about our provinces.
Different provinces of Papua New Guinea display culture.
It's good that we have a cultural show annually in Divine Word University in order to showcase all our cultures and to know well our cultures of other cultures as well as ours.
Madang students started the day off with their dance performance, followed with students from other centers, from the islands to the Momase, Southern region, Highlands, and the Solomon Islands. East New Britain students ended the day with a dance performance from the Pomio district. Matalubis, National EMTV News, Madang.
Owner of Maku Gift Shop and Lover Girl Clothing Pieces and Jewelry Annette Sete has been awarded the 2017 Divine Word University Distinguished Alumni of the Year, coinciding with the DW Foundation Day today. Sete was recognized for her creativity as well as service to society and is the third recipient and first female to have her name inscribed into the Immortal Wall of Alumni at the Madang campus. She graduated with a Bachelor of Communication Arts Journalism in 2004. Sete was identified as creating employment for local people and for her service to society through her initiative of Katim Nahalevin Pikinini, a charity group which raises funds to support specialist doctors from Australia and in PNG who operate on children who are born with birth defects. DWU University Council Chair Archbishop Douglas Young said Sete's creativity was an example of the DWU Charter, which aims to produce creative intellectual students. Port Moresby corporate residents showed up in colour to show their support for the annual PWC Walk, a charity event held yesterday. While organisers were pleased with the event, it was the children who stole the show.
The Sir Hubert Murray Stadium was a sea of different colours early Sunday morning as corporate houses were represented by their teams. Even a superheroes team took up the challenge this year. After a warm-up session to shake the sleep out of their muscles, the participants took off.
4, 3, 2, 1.
The 5-kilometer walk this year was a cut through the heart of Port Moresby CBD, along Ella Beach, up Laws Road, and back to the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium. With 1,000 participants this year, it was not as many people as there were last year, but there were many more companies involved.
The important thing is people registering more than one team.
And many participants were much younger than the usual crowd. And John showed he was his mother's lucky charm.
Actually, we both made it. This is my first time to make it through. So he was really happy, and he came in 38 minutes, and I was behind him 40 minutes.
The annual PwC Corporate Challenge is a charity event. This year, they raised over 100,000 kina that will go towards various organizations, including Child Fund, Guinea Goara Business Development Foundation, Port Moresby General Hospital, Sir Buri Kiddo Heart Institute, and We Care.
At PwC, one of our values is to give back to the community, and this event's all about giving back to the community. It's getting everyone involved as a firm and getting out there and raising money for a number of charities.
Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
It's not always that you get to see a baby crocodile on the streets of Lae City. This morning, 2 men from Angaram in the East Sepik were selling their wares, and among their products were 2 young freshwater crocodiles. Cletus Inap admitted that he smuggled the 2 crocs last year on a flight from Wewak when they were just the size of his hand. He said he jokingly told both crocs not to make any noise on the flight when they came. Cletus also brought 2 larger crocs who escaped from their holding pen during recent floods. He says if nobody buys them, he plans to make a meal out of them. Colgate-Palmolive has partnered with Paradise Cinema for the free Monday movie ticket promotion. This promotion will run until October 30th.
Great news for movie fans who enjoy watching the latest movies but are on a tight budget. The Monday free movie ticket promotion is back and will run until October 30. Mechanics of the promotion is to present an empty packet of participating Colgate toothpaste and receive a second ticket for free.
We started this last February, and we are actually renewing it again for this year for another shot. It started the last August 7 and will be ending on October 10. You're actually hitting 2 birds with 1 stone because you get great healthy smiles with Colgate, and at the same time you get to enjoy movies for free.
The promotion first ran earlier this year from February to April and saw an interesting 35% increase of customers for a busy day of the week. The promotion is offered to both Waigani Central and Vision City and valid for only standard cinemas.
As you all know, Colgate is all about health education, and we're very pleased to see from the success of the last promotion that people not only enjoy going to the movies but certainly enjoy brushing their teeth, and we want people to brush their teeth twice a day, every day, for strong, healthy teeth, and that is our core message, and we want to take that through on every toothpaste event that we do.
Paradise Cinema is targeting to reach at least 1,200 moviegoers. Marilyn Delkatam, National EMTV News.
And now looking at our finance news, the kina opened unchanged at $0.3145 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.307 $0.3831 Australian dollars, €0.2575 euro, and 33.22 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, cocoa and copra closed higher, gold is trading lower, and coffee closed the day lower. Palm oil closed higher, while crude oil is trading lower, and copper closed the day lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 76.22 points lower, the ASX closed at 31.61 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 28.51 points lower. Your Wet Monday's news, Central Provincial Government Assembly sworn in when we come back, and stories making headlines overseas. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. The Central Provincial Government swore in members of its Provincial Executive Council at the Central Provincial Government headquarters this morning in Port Moresby. Governor Robert Agorobe says he will continue to support education scholarship programs, economic activities and rebuilding provincial infrastructure.
A small but important ceremony was held at the Central Provincial Government Chambers this morning to swear in members of the Provincial Assembly. The sworn-in members are Governor of Central Province Robert Agarobe, Abau MP Se Puka Temu, Rigo MP Se Lekwa Gure, Kairuku Iri MP Peter Iso Aimu, and Goilala MP William Semb. Present to witness the ceremony are Provincial Administrator Gay Raga, District Presidents, DDA officers and supporters. Governor Agarobe, who is also the chairman of the CPGA, acknowledged the work of former Governor Kila Auda while saying he will support the scholarship program and tertiary subsidy for Central Province students. Governor Agarobe also promised to bring tangible development to the province by aligning the provincial development plans to relocate and rebuild the district service headquarters, re-establish district infrastructure, and introduce a village-based voluntary system to stimulate tourism and economic activities in the province.
This plan involves three major reforms that will totally alter the future of Central Province in a very big way. One, rebuilding the district government and headquarters. Quality infrastructure will be built for the public servants, which will include housing, schools, hospitals, sporting facilities, airstrips, as well as an improved administrative infrastructure. Donor partners will be invited to assign volunteers with specialist skills to live with us in the districts. This will be in Kwikila, Kopiano, Berina, and Tapini. This will stimulate business and services with good accountability at district levels, which is essential within the reach of our subsistence farmers.
Members were thrilled with Governor Agarobe's intentions to develop the province and pledged their allegiance to work with the governor despite their political differences. Member for Kairuku Iri, Peter Iso Aimu, says they will work in unity regardless of which side of government they are in to deliver tangible government services to the people.
We are privileged here because we are surrounded by a good public service machinery and like-minded politicians from the province, Honorable President, who will help us.
Eric Arupma, National EMTV News.
Turning overseas, police have arrested several suspects relating to the Spain terror attacks. This includes some members of the terrorism group.
In the foothills of the Spanish Pyrenees, the quiet town of Ripoll was known mostly for its 9th century monastery, until now. In the town's centre, the families not of the victims of Barcelona and Cambrils, but of the suspected attackers. Among them, Fatima Abu Yaqub, whose brother Mohamed Hishami was one of the 5 men killed by police as they launched an attack in the town of Cambrils.
Todavía estoy esperando que es una mentira, que han equivocado, que puede ser no es mi hermano, porque mi hermano es normal, es amigo de todo el mundo. Pregunta es los compañeros de trabajo, sus amigos son catalanes.
Her brother was not alone. 8 of the suspected Barcelona and Cambrils terrorists came from this small town. Their families gathered Saturday night in grief, but also to disown the terror attacks. The placards read, "Not in my name." On the outskirts of Ripoll, investigators have sealed off an apartment where the youngest of the alleged attackers, Musa Ukabir, lived. One of Musa's cousins turns up. He says he wants to collect belongings, but is quickly escorted out. In shock, he can't believe what's happened. Musa, he says, must have been brainwashed. A neighbor tells us what the family was like.
Sí, eran personas normales, pero no hablaban mucho.
No acrecentaban mucho.
No hablaban. Si podían evitar ni saludarte, no te saludaban.
The Cafeteria Esperanza is the Moroccan bar where most of the Ripoll suspects would meet to drink mint tea. Even today, their former friends are inside doing just that, but watching the news with a sense of disbelief. They simply can't believe, they say, that the men they knew so well, men who drank, men who ran ordinary lives and who weren't particularly religious, might have carried out such atrocities. They also express a sense of anger that they should have been committed in the name of Islam. Only 5% of Ripoll's 11,000-strong population is Muslim. The town is peaceful and, although proudly Catalonian, happily integrated, say local officials.
We work together, the Muslim community and the local council, to make different activities and build bridges
to be a normal community.
A normal community whose peace has been shattered. The makeshift mosque where Musa Kabir prayed is now shuttered to the outside world and to its many questions.
Plastic pollution is a threat to the South Pacific. Captain Charles Moore is leading a group of researchers called the Algalita Marine Research Foundation to look at how plastic poses threat to marine life.
Scientists say it's becoming a plastic garbage dump.
Here I am standing on High-Zex Buoy Island.
Meet Captain Charles Moore, founder of Algalita Marine Research and Education, a non-profit group dedicated to solving the sea's plastic pollution problem. In 1997, Captain Moore discovered a massive garbage patch in the North Pacific. Now his team has confirmed the existence of another further south off the coast of Chile and Peru. Captain Moore estimates it to be about 2 million square kilometres, larger than Mexico. Here's how it formed. Winds around a persistent high-pressure system drive ocean currents, creating a vortex known as a gyre, causing debris to collect in a central location.
I call it a plastic soup. If you think of the ocean as the liquid in a soup, we've gone from, creamy to extra chunky.
Captain Moore and his team spent months trawling the South Pacific collecting samples, from large objects to plastic the size of a grain of rice.
The surface waters are where we see the debris, and it is mostly particulate. The size class that's most common is between 1 and 3 millimeters in diameter. But we find interesting objects. For instance, a lot of tubs that are used in sorting fish in the fisheries that are manufactured in New Zealand. We found a lot of fishing buoys, and of course, the most common things that we find out there are the floating bottles and the bottle caps.
The plastic poses a major threat to marine life. Small lanternfish come to the surface at night to feed on plankton. Many eat small microplastics instead and are then unable to swim back to the bottom, the plastic acting like a buoy. Not only do these fish ingest chemicals from the plastic, but so do the larger fish who eat them. Algalita Marine Research found 35% of lanternfish in the previously discovered North Pacific garbage patch are eating plastic. The researchers are now sifting through the samples to try to get a better understanding of what types of plastic they've collected. But Captain Moore says it's our throwaway society that needs to change.
We have to fear plastic for not only what it does to the marine environment, but what it's doing to us. We need to fear it, and we need to respect it because it is being treated like waste, like trash, like it's just this wrapper that you throw away. And we've got to have a new attitude about that in which we realize that it must have an afterlife. It must be reincarnated. It must be part of a circular economy, or it's going to end up in the ocean and destroy marine life. So we are now working with plastic companies, with Coca-Cola, with Dow. We're working desperately to reshape the thinking of those who are making this stuff, to create this infrastructure to take it back, to have a circular economy.
Monsoon floodwaters, which have ravaged parts of South Asia, have now killed more than 700 people. More than 1 million people in Bangladesh, India and Nepal have been displaced by the waters. In Bangladesh, the flooding has the worst seen in 3 decades.
Scale that Bangladesh has not seen in decades. Water where once roads existed, entire villages washed away. People trying to salvage what little can be retrieved. In this case, a mattress floating in the water. When you've nothing left, every little possession is invaluable. This used to be Noor Hussein's home. He tells me how the water rose without warning at night, swirling through his house.
I saved my brother and his wife, then came back to get some clothes and blankets. But by then, it was too late for me to get away. I had to spend the night on a tree.
There's now a sense of desperation among the survivors. Aid workers bring in supplies of fresh water, and are soon surrounded. But there's simply not enough to go around, leaving behind angry and frustrated villagers. Those who were lucky enough to escape have ended up in relief camps. This one's built on a narrow embankment surrounded by water. There are 2,000 people living here, along with cattle. And the problem is, with most of their homes washed away, they're going to be here a while. With so much water around and people squeezed into every inch of dry land, there's now a fear that disease from contaminated water could spread rapidly among the survivors.
14 U.S. states are bracing for millions of visitors ahead of a total solar eclipse that will happen later tonight. The last one was seen around 40 years ago.
Tonight, spectators from around the globe scrambling to witness history. Small towns with big views like Prineville, Oregon.
This is all heading into Prineville.
Teeming with crowds vying for a clear shot of a great American eclipse. The 70-mile-wide shadow cast by the moon will speed across a ribbon of the country stretching from Oregon to South Carolina, plunging parts of 14 states into sudden darkness over a span of about 90 minutes. All of the country will get to see at least a partial eclipse. 200 million Americans live within a day's drive of the path of totality, which is why officials are bracing for what could be the worst traffic jam in U.S. history. Schools planning to keep kids indoors for eye safety. And in states like California that rely on the solar power grid, experts are keeping a close eye, but say there's little cause for concern. Tens of thousands streaming here to SolarFest in Madras, which NASA says is the best spot to view the eclipse. This family traveled 800 miles from Philadelphia to see the eclipse.
It's gonna feel pretty cool to have it all bright and then completely dark in a matter of minutes.
NASA's Dr. Jim Green calls it a rare chance to see the sun like never before.
What we want to look for is how extensive the atmosphere of the sun is.
The last time Americans got a good look at one, Jimmy Carter was in the White House.
Not until August 21st, 2017, will another eclipse be visible from North America.
You'll need special purpose solar filters to watch the eclipse. Many stores sold out.
True Guys Sports is next. I'll be back with the details. Don't go away.
True Guys Sports.
Welcome to True Guys Sports. Players in the NRL will be gathering in Sydney tonight to decide whether to boycott this year's Rugby League World Cup. This comes over their ongoing pay disputes.
300 NRL players are expected to meet tonight. A mass meeting of NRL players on Monday may vote to boycott this year's World Cup as the Rugby League Professional Association increases pressure, despite the NRL's 16 club anonymously agreeing last week to grant them an effective 52% pay increase. NRL clubs, however, claim such a player boycott would be in breach of their contractual obligations to promote the code. That possibility has become very real with a proposal asking NRL players to withdraw their services from this year's World Cup tabled at an executive meeting of the Rugby League Players Association on Sunday. The 16 clubs and the NRL national body have agreed on a $9.4 million salary cap next year, but there are still areas worrying the players and they haven't signed off on it. Their major concerns reportedly lie with injury compensation, integrity unit protocols, retirement benefits, and use of individual player branding. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
To golf, and the Malaysia Association of Papua New Guinea had its charity dinner on Saturday evening following Friday's gold tournament here in Port Moresby. 35 business houses took part and over 100,000 kina was raised, in which 61,000 kina came from the auction alone.
Since the inception of the MAPNG Golf Charity in 2001, the event has successfully raised over 8.3 million kina, all of which were given to non-government organizations and other charity houses.
Blake Macmillan, Ian Ura.
In last year alone, the event raised 930,000 kina, a testament of how far the event has come. Saturday night's proceedings from the auction will be donated to the Port Moresby General Hospital to improve health care. And the rest of the funds raised will be distributed to 20 NGOs, including the St. John Ambulance, Mary Safe House, and others. All of that thanks to generous contributions from at least 159 donors. Meanwhile, Friday's tournament saw at least 35 participants that took the course of the Royal Palm Golf Club, playing golf to raise funds. And LA Construction came out as champions of the one-day tournament, recording 53.33.
The champion for Embassy Charity Golf 2017 goes to LNA Construction, 53.33.
Others that finished off in the top 10 include Lager Industries, Dunlop PNG, SP Brewery, Puma Energy, BSP, and others. Dini Rose Raiko, National EMTV Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. Working in partnership with James Cook University, PNG High Performance has grown from strength to strength with its talent identification program, searching for raw talents in both communities and schools. Visiting from James Cook University earlier this year, Stephen Bird is in the country again to observe the process used by PNGHP to identify potential future talents. Bird will be in the country for a few days, working alongside the High Performance team to determine other possibilities on what can be done to produce potential future talents for PNG. To football, Mo Farah brought down the curtain on his unequalled track career in Britain by winning his farewell race on home soil. It was an emotional afternoon for the marathon man at the Birmingham Grand Prix Diamond League meeting over the weekend.
In his second last track race, Mo Farah's final run will be on Thursday this week. But before becoming a marathon man on the roads next season, the quadruple Olympic champion outclassed the 3,000 meters field with familiar style. Farah won the 5,000 meters silver with little over a week since his 10,000 meter triumph at the World Championships in London. The crowd at the Alexander Stadium gave Britain's greatest racer, perhaps the best the world has seen, 2 after 10 global title wins. A rapturous reception before watching him sprint away one last time, down the home straight as he won in 7 minutes 38.64 seconds. Meanwhile, Elaine Thompson, who surprisingly missed out in London, hit her best form a fortnight too late as she raced a victory in a high-class 100-meter event. Shane Soroya, National EMTV Sports.
And that's it for Trukai Sports, where the details for the next 24 hours coming up. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow, mostly fine in all main centers of the southern region. In the Momasi region, some showers in Medang and Wau, mostly fine in Leh and Wewak, and cloudy with showers in Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, partly cloudy with a chance of few showers in Lorengau, Kavieng and Kimbe, thundery showers in Boka, and cloudy with some rain in Kokopo and Rabaul. And in the Highlands region, mostly fine, although partly cloudy in Mount Hagen, cloudy but fine in Goroka and Kondiawa, and cloudy with few afternoon showers in Mendi, Tari and Wabeg.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
And before we go, a quick look on our stories making headlines. Donations pouring in for homeless Hanobada families. Bougainville Affairs Minister wants people-centered focus, and MP to partner with University for Role Models push. And that's the news, sports and weather this Monday, the 21st of August 2017. From the entire news team, I'm Helen Sea. Pleasant viewing. Good night.